Okay, so I had a couple of conversations going with people about changing habit patterns, things like addictions and relative to weight loss or even weight gain, any number of different concerns that are related to habitual patterns that we get stuck in. And I wanted to just kind of answer a couple of those all at the same time. If you're watching, you know who you are. And there's a couple of constants that stay the same about transformational change with NLP and with hypnosis. And it has to do with the approach to change, the model of change that we use and why, right? With hypnosis, a lot of what we do is to access the unconscious mind and to utilize resources that are latent in the unconscious mind to come forward and to facilitate and potentiate change. There's a couple of words we use: potentiation versus attenuation, right? When you add energies onto something and make it bigger, better, stronger, that's potentiation, right? When you take some energy away from something, you weaken it, you make it lesser in value, that's attenuation. So when someone has, if you want to quit smoking, right? There's the ideas, the beliefs, the perceptions, the ingrained patterns and whatnot that are associated to that. We want to draw the energy out of the habit and put the energy into things that will help you become a different person who no longer has the habit. Right? There are different kinds of hypnosis. Some are very kind of limited in scope. It'll, close your eyes, think a happy thought, wake up, feel better, right? And sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. They don't really care. They get paid, right? You still pay that person $100 whether you got better or not. With transformational hypnosis, what we want to do is find out the goals that you're seeking to create in your life and then potentiate the parts of your unconscious mind, the resources that you're not usually in touch with enough energy and enough intent and enough power and impact to cause you to grow, to become a new person for whom leaving the problem behind is a natural just side effect. It's a step of growing. When a butterfly breaks out of the cocoon, it doesn't drag the cocoon with it. It drops the cocoon and takes off. It's that same notion. This is a picture, very poorly drawn, of a streetlight. And when we use the phrase unconscious, preconscious, conscious, focus or attention is a bit like the light coming down into the street. And some of those things are well lit. We can see them clearly, and those are conscious items in the mind, right? Some are outside of the area of light, and we can't see them at all. And those are unconscious concepts and principles and ideas and energies and entities even. And then we have those that are just on the periphery. You can see part of it, maybe make out a rough image, but there's other parts that you can't see at all. And those are the ones we term preconscious. And there's a lot of preconscious components that are playing a role both in keeping the problem and having it and maintaining it, as well as preconscious components that if they got more energy, if they were potentiated, it would cause them to grow and take over the space of the problem and help you become a new you who no longer has the old issue, right? So when we use those phrases, that's what we're referring to. Up down here I have this phrase that it's worth remembering. A lot of how we potentiate or attenuate ideas depends on the type of attention we pay to them. The frame of mind that we're in as we consider the different concerns and issues and topics in our life can add or take away different types of energy to those concepts, to those challenges, to those ideas, either causing them to grow or deflate, right? And what we want to be able to do is replace the problem with something better, right? If I tell someone to go into trance, stop smoking, feel better, wake up, right? And I've taken away the smoking, I don't replace it with something, they're going to go back to it. The unconscious mind likes the comfort of the familiar. And if I don't give your mind something to latch onto, something to grow into and to run with, in lieu of the problem we're getting rid of, then your unconscious mind is going to go back to the problem, because at least there it knows what it's dealing with, right? It has the unsurety of the unknown. And so we detail out a path to change. We detail out who and what you will be when you no longer have a problem. And then we use hypnosis as a tool to get you in touch with the resources, potentiate the resources that will take you into that new space and help compel you to grow on an ongoing basis. This bit here, I use a metaphor with a lot of my clients about the 100-story building with 100 rooms on each floor. Most people in their lifetime only get to know 2 or 3 rooms on the bottom floor, and that's it, right? All of these rooms are different positions in mind. They're different capabilities, different perspectives that you have access to, but you just don't use them, right? I live on a hill. And the hill that I live on, I can look down and see out into the ocean, I can see a beach. Right? And I'm only about 2 miles as the crow flies from that beach, but I can look out over the hill and I can see it. If I take that 2 miles and I go someplace else, I can't see the beach anymore. All I see is homes. If I go 2 directly inland instead of 2 up onto the hill, all I see is houses. I call it the yuppie fungus. It's all these beige houses with terracotta roofing tiles on them. They all look alike. And that's all I see. My position determines my perspective, and my perspective determines which ideas get potentiated or attenuated. So what I want to be able to do at some point in time is to govern my perspective, to take some control over where I put my mind, because that will determine how I feel about what I think, right? So that's the ultimate goal of what we're doing, is to awaken some ideas, put others to sleep, and change how we feel about the things that cross through our minds so that we have more choice. Most people, when they're doing change work, all they'll do is rearrange the furniture in the one room. They got that one room, they walk in the front of the building and they go, this is it, I'm home, right? And they select some bunch of ideas from memory and events that happened, biases they formed, and they say, this is who I am. And they cling on to that. What we want to do is help you redefine new horizons of who and what you are, so that you're no longer compelled to stay in this one tiny little room. You can start expanding into other rooms on that same floor, and then eventually start trying the second floor, third floor, fifth floor, and learn more and more about the capacity that you have in your body and mind. So what we'll end up doing is, this is the floor, and this is my view. What's my view from the second floor, third floor, fifth floor? When I go up to the 100th floor, what's my view? Things change. As I start to change, the way I see the world changes. So it's not a case of changing a single habit. It's not a case of having someone just quit smoking or just lose weight or these little minuscule things. It's about changing who you are as a person, so that as we potentiate growth and change, then we attenuate the problem. It just goes away. You just take the air out of the balloon's gone, right? So ultimately, one of the easiest ways to do this, if I can't see directly for hypnotic change, is to get a journal and do this exercise. I've written it down here in case you can't see it. It's unconscious contingencies for change, or making new maps. We have a map in our head. What can I do? What can I not do? And in order to draw new maps, we have to ask certain questions that direct your focus, that direct your attention to potentiated ideas and wake new ideas up while getting rid of old ideas, right? So that it's a bunch of questions or ideas. We have rules of expectations, which are should. We have rules of permission, which are may. We have rules of possibility, which are can. And we have rules of compulsion, which are must. And on this side, we have do, not do, always do, never do, right? So if you get a journal out, and you want to just kind of potentiate some ideas while attenuating others, start with a sentence, what should a person do in order to, and down here I say, we want it in the end state, in a completed positive present tense. If someone says, I want to stop smoking, okay, what do you want to do instead, right? So when you're no longer a smoker, what will you be? And you want to get that positive present tense. I will be a, and you fill in the blank. And everybody's blank is going to be a little bit different. But it starts with a clear and concise vision of the outcome, of your objective in its completed form. When you're no longer a smoker, when this is no longer a problem in my life, I will be, fill in that blank. And when you have that, we ask a question. What should a person do in order to be a, and there's your answer, right? And then whatever your answer is, as we're plugging in, and you write that down. Write down what the answer is. What should a person not do in order to be a, right? And we go all the way through this. What should a person always do? What should a person never do? You write each one down. And we do this for may, can, and must. What may a person do in order to be, and whatever your completed positive present tense summation of you as a person without your problem. Who are you when this is no longer even part of your picture? It doesn't define who you are anymore. It's gone. You're still going, right? Who are you? Who is that person? Possibility. Who can a person be? What compulsion? Must. What must a person never do in order to be a, and the positive present tense thing again, right? The mere act of running through these questions, writing them down, sitting with them, some will be repetitive, easy. Some will be hard. Some you'll just be like, I have no idea. I've never even thought about that. What a ridiculous question is this? And they'll get frustrated and you have to sit there for a while before you can come up with an answer. Do it anyway. Sit with them for a while. Because it's that type of attention that we pay to the concern that will cause us to potentiate new maps, new ideas, new territory, and attenuate the old. The more time you spend working on these answers and the more time you spend reviewing them, the more time you spend associating your attention to your end state, completed, positive, present tense definition of who am I when this is no longer a part of my life, right? The more you awaken into this new, becoming, transformational version of you, right? The more you start to leave the person who is capable of having the problem behind and become a new person who's just, it's not even a possibility. It's not even part of their story. It's not part of their deck of cards. It's just not a possibility. It's not like you're going to shuffle the cards around and bam, there's my old ace of spades again. You're looking for a card that doesn't exist because you've become this new person, and this new person's deck doesn't have that old card, right? That's transformational change. So take some time, run through this. Do it. Do it. It's the investment of time, energy, and thought that will change the way your mind holds your body around the ongoing condition or concern, right? So this is how we start that whole butterfly chrysalis thing going. And that's all I know. I have some other information I can send you. If you're curious, feel free to ask. If you want to schedule some time, let me know. And pay attention to the things you want, not the things you don't want. It makes a big difference.